Live on YouTube. There we go. Let me turn this on for you guys. I don't know that you need to see me this close up, but let's get this going. Boom. Get some light going on there. And man, how are you? Welcome to the Mañana no Mas morning check-in. It is, whoops, let's turn that off. There we go. Okay, got the sound turned off so there's no more echo. And here we are. It's November 12th, 2020. And it has been a rip roaring day. In fact, it's not the morning check-in anymore. We're back at one of those situations where we've crept up on evening, right? So welcome to the Mañana no Mas evening check-in. Man, started out today, had a meeting with the software company that I help out, and meeting with Chris and the team, Tom, Toyin, Rocco, Natalie. I mean, they're just great people. It's one of those things where I'm the newest member, Will and Kathy, all of them, right? I want to make sure I give everybody a shout out, but they are great people. I'm the newest one on the team. They seem super, super open, and it just seems to be a good fit. So I basically get up every morning. I come down into my workspace, a cup of coffee, and I write in my journal. I got a 5-minute journal that I write in, and I try and put myself in a good mind space for the day. I've discussed that the last couple of days that I've done this. And so I do that, and then I jump online and I basically do support. I'm a membership and learning website expert, and people, write in with different questions or different situations, work case scenarios. And so we go over that work case, and I go, okay, well, I would recommend this, or I would recommend that. And then, of course, I get compensated on whatever they decide to purchase. The cool part about it is, part of me wants to sell. Part of me wants to be a salesperson, but I go back to the John Maxwell, philosophy, and it's like, just add value to people and the money will follow. That doesn't, you don't have to close everybody you talk to, right? And so I just give them an honest opinion. Hey, do you want to use LearnDash? Use LearnDash. You want to use Lifter LMS? Use Lifter LMS. Are you a Kajabi customer? Jump on Kajabi. Make the most out of whatever it takes for you to be successful. Because honestly, if I sell somebody something and they don't succeed with it, that's not a good representation of the company that I'm supposed to be representing, right? And so it's really fun to do that. So I do that. I do pursue employment. I take a look at some job openings. I take a look at who's hiring, what kind of executive positions are available in my area, what I might fit into, what I might like. I apply here and there. I work on Mañana no Mas initiatives. And then today was Thursday. Thursday is one of the days that I support dealerships in the Power Sport Academy. And today we had a really, really good of my dealers, and basically had 3 employees from one dealership on the phone on a Zoom call. And what I really, really like about this particular call was, constantly I'll meet with 1 or 2 of them at a time, and I'll say, if you change this, this will get you this much, right? This much in parts and labor sales, this much more money, this much more whatever. And I really focus on the money when I talk to them, because I need them to understand in their position in a power sports dealership, it's one of the only positions in a dealership where everything you do physically has an effect line of the dealership by dollar. So I like to go over that with them, right? So this example was really cool because I said, let's take a look at your October numbers and let's see where you are at. You are here, right? These are the numbers you gave me, and this is where you are at. How do you think that compares to where you should be? And then I let them pick the number, and they said, well, we would like if we would go to here, right? So from here to here. I said, okay, well, can we go from here to here in 6 months? Great. I said, okay, let's take a look at one thing. What's one thing you could change that might get you from here to here? And so we discussed one thing. And I said, oh, if you change that one thing and you have 3 technicians and it's, 15 minutes per episode with each technician 4 times a day, blah, blah, blah. I did the math. I did the math with them. I said, that comes out to 66 hours a month of extra labor that you would bill. And then that broke out to about $8,500 per month. And then I said, okay, well then that's labor. Now, how much more in parts would you sell? So based on your October numbers, you sold this much, right? And so on a percentage base, this much of an increase in labor, you should have this much of an increase in parts based on October's performance. And they were like, yeah, that makes sense. And so we did the math. And I said, okay, so this phone call is worth $138,000. And when you break it down and you go, I use the numbers you gave me, I used the skills that we discussed already that you said you could do. I asked you what your goal was. And then this is the thing we can fix to get you towards that goal. Now, here's the cool part. They were here. They wanted to be here. They were here. They wanted to be here. If they do what I said, they increase by $138,000 a year, and they actually go to here, right? So I'm like, you'll surpass your expectations if you just do this one thing. And it's not the one thing that I teach. I teach like 10, 15, 20 things, right? So imagine the effect we can have on this one business. If we go, okay, you got the one thing, great. You went up $138,000 a year, great. Let's go to the next thing. Let's add another 200 grand a year. Let's go to the next thing. Let's add another 90,000 a year. Let's go to the next thing. Let's add $340,000 a year. And by the time we're done, we had $1 million a year in revenue to a small company. And think of the job security and the finance security that it brings to that business and to the families that work within that business. And that really, really gets me excited. So there's that. Now, last night before bedtime, I published a podcast with Stacy Rasky. Folks, I talked about it last night ad nauseum. I mean, I went on and on about this. This is a phenomenal podcast. She is a woman, obviously. She's a woman. She's an Iraqi war vet. She has had her share of hardship. She has turned the corner on that, and she has become a best-selling author, speaker, coach. She's an amazing individual, and her own self-description as a badass biker chick, right? And so her connection to power sports and me was an attraction. Her connection to leadership was an attraction. Her connection from a fitness perspective was an attraction. I had to get her on the podcast. Was so happy to finally get her on there. We had teased each other back and forth like, hey, you should be on the show. And she, I'll be on the show. And we finally made it happen. So glad we did. I think it turned out really, really good. Now, yesterday was Veterans Day. We recorded it yesterday. And come hell or high water, I was going to get that podcast up last night. And I had some glitches along the way with the editing software, but I got the podcast up. It's available both video and audio. If you go to mañananomas.com, I have both the video and audio on one page. So you just go in there and it's like 2 posts ago, because I had another post come up this morning. But 2 posts ago, it says, Stacy Rasky, the interview, episode 69. If you listen on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Anchor FM, it's episode 69 and the Mañana No Mas podcast, the Stacy Rasky interview. I really, really like it. I know that I'm doing a lot of this right now, but it came out good. And it's not because I'm a genius. It's because the host was phenomenal. Not the host, the guest was phenomenal. When you get a good quality guest, it makes it easy to be a good host. Hopefully that makes sense. I actually spoke to Andrew Eggleton today. We had a Zoom call, and I said, "Dude, did you see my latest podcast?" I said, "It's almost, I'm going to tell you, it's almost as good, if not better, than the one I did with you." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, dude, she's better looking than you. I mean, she's blonde and good looking and female, right?" And he goes, "Oh, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that." I said, "Yeah, it's sexist to say it, but it's true." And so we did that. There's my daughter trying to come back in and be on TV. You want to be on TV, baby? Okay. And so we did the podcast last night, got that published. This is one of those ones where I'm going to shout out to you guys. Share, like, subscribe, join the webpage, add yourself to the newsletter, all kinds of things. This is one of those events where you'll see this podcast and you'll be like, how can I get more of this? And just to give you an idea of how more of this is going to happen, a friend of Stacy's in the leadership realm, he's more like into your mind has to match your body and you find success, right? So he's really good speaker on mental fitness, physical fitness, mental physical alignment, and success leadership. And so she said, man, you guys got to connect. You're both outgoing, you're both personable, you're both, all these complimentary things. And so I started connecting with this gentleman, and he is going to be a phenomenal guest. And so I sent him the link to go ahead and schedule his time for the podcast. I sent him the link to, fill out the information that I need to make a good podcast out of it, because I do my homework before I interview people. And I think that that'll be tremendous too. So again, if you listen to the Andrew Eggleton podcast, if you listen to the Stacey Rasky podcast, you're going to want to know what's next. They're coming out really, really good. And it's not my credit, it's theirs. The guests have been amazing. So like, follow, share, all of that stuff. And then next is the project. I keep hinting to you guys that there's a project coming. That project went really, really well. I showed it to the software company owner, and he was like, this is what you're doing. This is awesome. I showed it to a marketing power partner. He's like, when are you open for investment? Right? I want to use this. And then I showed it to my friend in Australia, and he was like, we're looking to use something like this. We want to get off of Facebook. And I'm like, well, this is it. I've got the tool. It's already built. And so we are very much looking forward. We're going to do a proof of concept in December. We're going to do a soft launch in January. If those two projects go well, we're going to launch in February. And you know what? It sounds like that's a long time away when I say it, but that's 60 to 90 days, right? So we can deal with the wait. And this is one of those things: like, share, follow, because you're not going to want to miss this launch. It's going to be a really cool product launch. I can't wait to get people involved in it and make it public. Next, I said that I reached out to a couple of different companies. Remember when I said earlier, I said, we don't know what the election's going to do, whether you're right, left, or center, that doesn't matter. But I said, if you're an executive and you find yourself unemployed and you need to be in the, $120,000, $140,000, $160,000 range, you have to be realistic. Not many people are going to make that kind of a financial decision prior to the election. They're just gun shy. They're not going to do it. And then I also said, the distance between the election and the holiday, like how many people are going to hire you at $160,000 a year and then give you 2 weeks off of vacation time, not vacation time, 2 weeks off of holiday time, free before the first week of January, right? So I was pretty honest. I said I knew that it would be probably the beginning of the year. Pardon me. I knew it would be the beginning of the year before people really reached out to me seriously, wanting to know what kind of executive chops I could bring to their company. Well, it's been a very, very interesting, I'm going to say week, almost 2 weeks. So the election was on the 3rd. Here we are. It's the 12th. All of a sudden, I've got second interviews happening, first interviews happening, Zoom calls happening, people wanting to know what I could do for them under contract. If you are in this space, now is the time to double down, triple down, go back into your database, follow up, review your resume, make sure the words make sense, make sure you're using good keywords, make sure the format is, computer friendly. If you have a lot of lines and stuff on it, it might not scan into their system properly. You want to hit this hard. If you're like me, 2020 has been a very difficult year in that you second guess yourself. You wonder, am I crazy? I have this skill set. I have this ability. I can do these things. Am I nuts? Have I missed it? Am I off? Am I off? Right? It was the timing. And I started telling people about this timing issue, and people were starting to talk to me like maybe I was crazy. And I was starting to wonder myself a little bit, but sure enough, within 3 or 4 days of the election, the phone started ringing, the email started dinging, Zoom calls were getting scheduled. My Calendly has been filling up. If you're trying to get time with me on Calendly, calendly.com/Kurt Von Ahnen. If you're trying to schedule an appointment with me, you'll get in there. Some days are open, other days booked, right? And so this has been a really interesting time. I said at the very beginning of all this, keep heart, be strong, be patient, make smart decisions with your money. I said, this is going to be a longer haul than we expect. And if you remember, if you were listening to me back in the spring, I said, don't panic. Every challenge brings opportunity. Every challenge brings opportunity. You have to keep your ear to the ground. You have to constantly look, constantly work. So think about the things that I did during quarantine, right? I did 2 different John Maxwell book reviews with you guys online, right? We did the leadership. We did the 5 levels of leadership. I've talked about scripture, talked about, working with the young adults at my church. I've, got the software gig where I get up and I try to stay sharp on, being a membership and learning expert regardless. And then when the opportunity came for me to teach in person for the County of Los Angeles, I took it. I jumped on it because some people, even at that event, where they would look at me, they'd see me doing my thing. And a couple of them even, articulately said, why did you take this job? Why are you doing this? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, what, you're different than the other people doing this job. You obviously have a skill set that's beyond this. So why are you doing this? And my answer was simple. This is the first opportunity all year to be in front of a live audience and teach and speak and work on that craft, right? Where you can articulate words and meaning and be your authentic self and make connections with people live in an audience, which is completely different than filming these things and doing Zoom calls. So it was awesome. Regardless of whether people think it was above me, beneath me, or right up my alley, to me, it was the right thing at the right time, if that makes sense. And so I implore you, if you find yourself lost, if you find yourself unfocused, if you find yourself, kind of looking and going, what's next? The time is now. The time was a month ago, right? The calls that I'm getting and the Zoom calls and all that stuff, that's from the work I did, 30, 60 days ago. If you're not there, if you haven't done that work, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life, man. Jump into Indeed, jump into the LinkedIn jobs area, do some keyword searches, start looking at companies that you find attractive. Remember, in this new remote economy, you can work for anybody, anywhere, right? And so, if you've got an administrative kind of job or a project manager kind of job, chances are you could do it remotely, which means, like in my case, I live in Southern California. If I wanted to help a pharmaceutical company in San Francisco, I could do that from here. So, don't miss these opportunities. Don't discount yourself. Now is the time to execute. I know I'm being awfully emphatic tonight. Don't know where that's all coming from. I just want to see you guys succeed. I want you to be positive. I want you to know that it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, right? Just this week, I've had like 3 more people in my circle, confess, oh yeah, I've got COVID. I'm almost over it. I can't exactly put my finger on it, but at the beginning of the year, if you got COVID, it was a death sentence and people mourned for you and cried for you. And some people died. I got that. But even people of questionable physical conditioning, I'm being nice here, people with questionable physical conditioning in my circle have contracted COVID and within a week have been on the mend. So I think, I don't want to be overly optimistic and say we've turned the corner, right? That makes me sound like somebody else that people don't want to talk about right now. But, we're going to come out the other side of this thing. And you don't want to be someone that missed your opportunity because you were scared or numb or you started drinking too much during quarantine. I had friends over for a barbecue a couple weeks ago, had more wine than I expected. I haven't opened a bottle of wine since, right? It's like, all right, obviously, got to chill out. As much as I love wine, got to chill out. You got to make those decisions and you got to follow through and you got to be good to yourself. I've rambled on a lot tonight. So I hope, same as I always say, I hope you find value in this. I hope you know that I love you. And I'm really just praying for the best for you. And I want to see you succeed. If I can be of some help, hit the contact link on mañana.com. Know that all month, Black Friday sale, 20% off anything. Just use Black Friday 2020 as the coupon code and you get 20% off anything in the mañana.com website. All right. peace out. Have yourselves a good one. You're going to see me get really close to the camera right now because I'm going to lean over and turn off the Zoom. Have a good one. Bye-bye.